Welcome to an emergency podcast. Late last night, someone much cleverer than me sent me a message that had a screenshot of a company's house document that had just been updated that announced that Luca Cordero de Montezemelo was now a director of McLaren cars. Oh. Now, this is quite big news in our little world. We talk about Luca quite a lot for the reasons that you might know. If you don't, Managing has made a film about his life. And the idea that Luca Montezemelo, a man who doesn't just bleed red, but bleeds Rosso Corsa, has joined Woking. How do I describe that? I don't know how to describe it. It's very big. It is the most unpartisan move I think I've seen in my time doing this job. So, first of all, I want to get Manish's reaction to this, knowing Luca as he does, and let's try and interpret what we think the thought process behind it all is.
Can I say 100%? I think we should get Chris Cooper's thoughts on this because he's standing outside McLaren and is about to get arrested. Quick, Chris.
Okay, let's start then. So Chris Cooper, you might, if you can see, it stood outside the McLaren factory in Woking, which I wanted to drop in casually in 10 minutes' time, but he thinks the security might be onto him. So have you got your I Love Ronald T-shirt on?
There is a security van just up there. So I've been here for most of the afternoon. At the center of where all the excitement is. I mean, this news is big. I mean, it's bigger than big. It's large. I feel like Spartacus Mills, the crisis correspondent for the car podcast. This changes everything. If you've got a history book at home, take it out, throw it in the bin. It's worthless. From now on, history books will just say, in June 2025, Luca Cordero de Montezemelo, Mr. Ferrari, joined McLaren. Everything else that ever happened will just be a footnote. When I went to see the security guard a bit earlier on, I did ask him what was happening, and he sort of said, please go away before I call the police. I thought I saw earlier on a horse's head being delivered into the security gate in McLaren, but I have to report that the horse's head was connected to the remainder of the horse. So as of yet, and I'm still checking, no, there's nothing going on. No horses have been harmed so far in this news. But it's the biggest news in the history of everything.
I want to pretend I'm a BBC host in the studio now, talking to my roving reporter. Can I ask the obvious question? What's the feeling like on the ground?
The feeling is tense. I would say the feeling is tense because I think there's a recognition that this is a move of unbelievable. I'm just looking at a police car going past. A move of unbelievable proportion to have a man whose life is so indelibly red. Now thinking about his complexion in orange papaya. So I think it is intense, quiet, but tense.
Okay, Manish.
Well, doesn't this say something about us as much as it says something about Luca? Luca has not worked for Ferrari in 11 years. It's a privately owned company. It's not a state company. He didn't work for a state football team or something like that. And 11 years after, I think, rather inelegantly being fired, I think having your photos removed from where you used to work, being edited out of the videos, being quietly forgotten and and really consigned to the kind of dustbin of has-beens, and also being fired for losing a few Formula One championships. This is from the team that has now lost 11 on the trot since he was fired. Must be pretty galling. And I think it shows an amazing amount of restraint in the movie that we made, not to, let's say, go knee deep into that stuff, to be very elegant about that stuff, to be very positive about his time. And this is a man who, let's not forget, was recruited by Enzo Ferrari himself. So it's a man with a very direct link to kind of the seeds of Ferrari. And, 11 years after being dumped, he decides to join a board and help steer McLaren road cars. And, in the last podcast, I was talking about the fact that an architect friend had told me the difference between a 458 and a McLaren MP412C. Talked about why one was art and the other one was really all very resolved. What's he doing? He's there to help a fantastic British brand that, okay, is Emirati owned, but he's there to help them make better road cars. And that's just a wonderful thing. And I think people also must remember that Luca is a dual citizen. He has citizenship of Italy, but he also has citizenship of the United Arab Emirates. He is an Emirati citizen. So who are we to criticize him? I agree with Mr. Cooper. This is seismic, because we all thought, well, he still does bleed red. I think he'll always have a soft spot in his heart for Ferrari, but he's 77 years old. He hasn't worked there since he was 66. And why not give those beautiful brain cells, that amazingly artistic mind, why not give it a chance at helping out another road car company that we would love to see succeed? So I think it's a great thing. Great thing.
Neil Clifford, do you want to run out and buy a 720S now straight away?
Well, look, this is revenge best served cold. This is like gelato, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is just amazing news, and we all want McLaren to be successful. You do the quick chat GBT analysis, which I did earlier, of the Ferrari numbers versus McLaren numbers. Yeah. It's PH1, PH14. They're at the opposite end of the scale, aren't they? One company's making 1.5 billion, and one company's, I don't know, you can't really get to the bottom of what they're actually losing.
Doesn't really have
200
numbers,
or 300 or 400 or 500 million. So if someone like Luca, who has got passion, design, art, I can imagine the first meeting. Why do all the cars that look the same? They all look the same. I cannot tell the difference between 10 years ago and now. Why do you buy a new one now when you can get an old one for half the price? And it's got
They're
the
going to
V8
have to change what this looks like.
You know, maybe he can help them design pretty cars like this one behind. And actually, McLaren aren't ugly. I mean, 720S was ugly. Let's all be honest about it. Let's the elephant in the room. It was ugly.
Totally disagree. I think it's a great looking car.
No. So that's the great thing about cars, because they're all emotional.
We can all have opinions.
There's no right or wrong, but they all do look the same. They're all a bit cold. They're all a bit dry. They win every award, every auto car, every Evo, best driver's car, best this, best that. When you read the spec, it's amazing, all the carbon fiber tubs, and it's so much better than every other car. But actually, people don't want to buy them. They only sell, 2,000 cars. Lose hundreds of millions of pounds. So if Luke can help them figure that out and broaden the range and broaden the audience and maybe improve the quality a little bit so they don't sort of catch fire every now and again, I think it would be really good. So it's look, we want McLaren to be incredibly successful, and if he can help, that would be super cool.
Yeah.
Isn't hubris and stubbornness such a powerful emotion? Because the thing I learned working on the film with Manish was that Ferrari and the people that run Ferrari, I won't say any names, have had at their disposal, ready to go, the ultimate marketing tool for their business. They could have bought Luca in at any point, and he would have made a difference. And Ferrari is about to go into a sticky period. They're making loads of money, but the picture won't be the same in 2 years' time. They're going to have a sticky period. The market's changing, and they've definitely, their model strategy was at the most polite, bombastic, and I think if you're being critical, was hedonistic in its approach. But they had this Luca thing. They could have turned the tap on. It would have been so easy. Bring him in, pat him on the arse, make him feel good. And they chose, for whatever reason, I think we know why, just pride, they chose not to. And I think he's bided his time. He's waited long enough to see whether that would happen, and now he's going to let his skills flow to another company. And I think it's so sad.
I mean, the thing for me as well, which I know is maybe a bit left field, Jaguar have given up. So there's a market, there's a space on a graph there. There's a space on a graph that you could jump into that. You could say, well, McLaren going to go down. Go and do an equivalent F-type, E-type.
Yeah.
Do the Dino we talked about last week. Do some new things that actually aren't for sale. Get the V8s back out. Fuck it. There's going to be lots of opportunity. Make pretty cars.
I think a McLaren FF will be a great thing. You could even see a McLaren Chirasangwe, and I think It was
Yes.
interesting. Also this week, and I said on our little chat last night, it's a bit like a big football club signing Lionel Messi and Declan Rice in the same week. Torsten Otbos Muller, the guy who'd led Rolls-Royce so well the last 10 years, he's also joined the board this week.
Yes,
I mean, that's just massive vote of confidence of their reputations in what McLaren and its new owners are doing.
Yeah.
And I think Neil's right. I mean, the excitement. Today, I've had so many people send me Chat GPT image generators of what they think new Ferraris could look like. I mean, it's quite cool. You can just chuck into Chat GPT, what would a Pininfarina McLaren look like? What would a McLaren 720 with the 458 influence look like? I mean, it's really exciting.
But the
Chris,
Artura isn't pretty enough. It just looks, I'm sure it's a great car. I'm sure it's a wonderful car. I should own one, but it doesn't raise the heart rate yet.
No.
For me.
Neil, what I was also going to say was, don't forget, Luca was a rally driver. This is a man who can drive a car. This is a man who's just been steeped in cars. He didn't go to that many Grand Prix in his second period, but this is a man who knows about cars. He's owned a few pretty wonderful cars. He owns a few pretty wonderful cars. He's a car person. And McLaren have hired a car person to come and help them out with their road cars. And their strategy is supposed to be, isn't it, a sports car, a 4x4, and I can't remember what the other one they want to do. They want to do a saloon or something. So it's fantastic. He understands where these brands sit. He understands the price points. He understands the customers. He understands the customers. I'll say that again. That is a man who cares about his customers. Even Ron kind of built those cars for Ron, didn't he?
Yeah.
McLaren was run
For the
for
numbers.
Ron by Ron.
Yeah.
This is a man who goes, Manish, you want to buy a car? Come on, let me show you. You're not that rich. We can show you the entry level kind of 296, baby. He would understand that, make me feel good about it. I think this is wonderful.
When
And the irony is the Formula One team is doing better than Ferrari.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the idea that 12 years ago you'd have seen a shot of Luca and Ron at a Grand Prix, and they're, let's say, less than cordial. They're not best buddies, and now Luca could potentially have a little desk in Woking is utterly bizarre. But I think it just shows this industry is always there to surprise. And I just love the fact we can piggyback all this news. And obviously there's some potentially less of good news coming out of Norfolk at the moment. Although I gather today there's the government stepped in, or someone said it's not going to happen.
Yes, Minister has written a new episode, so it sounds like it's going to be okay.
Okay, Chris, can we get an update on the ground, please? What's it like at the coalface?
It's looking quieter. One or two people are milling around the security entrance, but I don't think they mean me any harm. One or two people have come up. I've seen a couple of Ferraris come around the roundabout here, for those of you who know this part of Surrey, Leicestershire, looking in wistfully. Current McLaren owners have been coming and going, stopping to talk to each other. I think the excitement is building.
Okay, because I heard a passerby shouting just then, "Are you that bloke that used to crash at the Nürburgring?"
They haven't worked that out yet. I think once they get to know me better, they'll bring that up. Yeah.
Can I just say, what do we think Ron is feeling right now? That's just a really good thought. This is a man who really did kind of pilot that. He really was not a Luca fan.
Isn't Ron putting the finishing touches to his biopic at the moment? Hasn't Ron made a film about Ron?
It's a book, isn't it? I thought it was a
his
book.
Autobiography. He's finishing that.
You know what? I won't. I'm sorry. I am a massive Ron fan. I'm largely in love with Luca, but I think Ron is the bee's knees. I don't know him. I'm sure he's very difficult and awkward, but look at what he did and the way he did it. Just
Amazing.
The boss. Sorry.
Let's ask him. Next person
Bring
who
him
sees
back
him
as
will ask
well.
him.
Maybe he's joining the board tomorrow.
You should go to Ferrari, maybe.
Put your hand up if you've been. Put your hand up if you've been to the MTC, the McLaren Technology Centre, inside. Okay, right. I can propose one reaction from Luca. He will go to the MTC and he will say straight away, "Why can't you just go in through a fucking door?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you have to go through an underground tunnel to get into the building?"
It's a bit Tracy Island, isn't it?
I think this is wonderful news. I feared that McLaren might disappear about a year, 18 months ago. Bahrainis have stood by it for so long and spent so much money keeping it going. And this is great news. So the emergency podcast conclusion is fantastic news. Luca has the ability to drop a mic at 77 years old that many younger people would love to emulate. Thank you, Chris Cooper, for being our man on the ground. Thank you, Manish Pandey, for being a man in front of a picture. And thank you, Neil Clifford, for showing us, if you can't see him, his Bristol cars LEDs, and he's got his FF out as well, so we can just see. I presume that's got how many warning lights on the dash?
Oh, no. Let's it's not a McLaren.
Right, over and out. Go and read as much news as you can about this. Go and look at Company's House. By the way, I did send Luca a message last night. I had been drinking some Valpolicella Ripasso with my steak dinner, and I sent him a cheeky note saying, "This is interesting, Luca," and a screenshot of the Company's House thing. He blue ticked me and then ghosted me. So he's obviously decided he ghosted me. He's left me alone.
Did the same thing.
Yes. Yeah. I suspect you got a few of those. Right, Chris Cooper, I think, has just been. Have you been accosted or not?
Yeah, I'm going. I'm walking that
Run.
Okay. Bye bye. Great effort, Mr. C. Thank you for listening to this emergency podcast. Bye bye all.